Hey everyone, my name is Sam. Thanks for checking out this video. If you get to the end and liked it, then subscribe, bell notification. Give the video a thumbs up. Plans for June, despite all that the shit going on in the world right now. June is Pride Month, as well as, I don't know about in the States, but in Canada it's Indigenous History Month, ironically, with everything that's going on. I don't totally know how to start this video because it seems weird to just have a regular video when everything in the world is going on the way it is, and I have the very white privilege of being white, and especially, it's not even like I can go join protests. I live 6 hours north of a major city. But when things are chaotic, whether it's, you know, in the world or the pandemic or everything, I like to organize. So having a TBR list for me is something that I need, and this is by no means a big thing in the world right now. This is not an important thing. This is something that helps me, and I know I just have the privilege of just detaching. Sometimes I get to go home or just stay home and not be a person of color or queer or anything like that. But on that lovely fun note, we're doing some stuff in the TBR and Beyond group for Pride, and my TBR this month is just a little weird. I just have so many books that have holds coming in this month from the library that I really just have to tackle. So this is my plan now, and we'll see how it goes. I think this month is going to fluctuate quite a bit, but we'll see. But this is my June TBR. I don't know how else to introduce this. I know this just isn't a big important thing in the world right now. It's just something that I like to do, and organizing helps me. So first off, I'm picking up something to talk about. This is a really, really new book. I think this just came out last Tuesday. All I know about this is it's supposed to be like a star and then like her personal assistant or something like that. There's rumors all of a sudden that they're in like a romance, and like I think they end up falling for each other. I believe it's female. I'm not totally sure what the pronouns of everyone in there are, but I've seen it tagged as LGBTQ all over the place, and my hold came in on the library. So I'm really, really excited to pick this one up for sure. I also want to pick up Forged in Fire and Stars by Andrea Robertson. I didn't know who this author was. I know she's written under Andrea, whatever her surname was. I don't know if she got married or divorced or whatever it was. But I know she's written something before, but I didn't know that when I purchased this book. I just thought it was really pretty, and there's like blacksmiths. And so I've never read her content before. So I'm super curious. She also has like a big back catalog of stuff that if I like it, I can kind of go back and start referring to and work my way through. A Lost Throne and a Forgotten Fate. Ara has always known the legend of the loresmith, the blacksmith who served alongside the kings and queens of Southland. I'm not sure how to say that, but forging legendary weapons to arm warriors and protect the kingdom. She's been told it's her fate to inherit the title, but since the monarchy's downfall in a vicious consequence years before, she's never been able to truly take up her duty. But when the lost princess and prince steal her But when the lost prince and princess steal her from her quiet life with a mission to retake the throne, she's going to be returning to the loresmith. I've seen a couple books actually upcoming that are supposed to be like centered around blacksmithing. I think one of them was Trisha Levenseller as well. So I'm really curious to see that we're playing around with this concept. It's also particularly interesting me because I literally just finished rewatching A Knight's Tale, where the blacksmith that everyone's like, ha ha ha, I'm not gonna fix it for you for like that price, but you can have the woman fix it for you, and then she makes some like amazing armor. So I hope I enjoyed this. I haven't heard anything from anyone about arcs or just having read the final book, so I'm really, really curious, and I hope I love this. I am also going to be picking up The Shadow Wand by Laurie Forrest. I do not have a copy yet because it is not out yet. Whenever on the release date probably it comes out, I will be picking it up because I'm so incredibly excited. I remember everything about the what happened with Ironflower at the end, so I am really, really excited and ready. I also think it's pretty timely that this book is coming out when everything is happening in the world of all of a sudden police stations like, what do you mean you don't like, what do you mean we're racist? No, we are. And everyone's just like, so especially when you have a president tweeting out shit like that. So I'm really curious to see where that's gonna go. And honestly, that first, well, technically 4 books, but like the books earlier on in this series have really pulled an awful lot of parallels from our world, so I'm curious to see how closely it's going to pull that, and I feel like it's going to be a good one that I'll think on. I am also picking up The Court of Miracles. Whenever that book freaking gets in my hand, I have been excited about this book for 2 years. The dates got pushed back a couple times, but we finally got a cover. I have a pre-order copy from Waterstones. I have a copy pre-order from Waterstones, so whenever that comes out, it gets sent to me. But I have the audiobook placed on hold in my library, and that's probably going to be another one that I pick up on release day. I am so excited. The ARC reviews I'm hearing are really positive. I think it was originally pitched as Six of Crows meets The Jungle Book, but I think it's slightly changed a little bit, but everything I'm hearing is positive. The book covers are just beautiful, and it's a new author for me. I've never read her stuff, but they're pushing hard with all of the covers, all of the ARCs that got sent out in these special boxes and everything, and then they're doing signed exclusive editions in the UK, so I think they're pushing this book hard, and I'm really curious about it. I know she's a mixed race author as well, so I'm hoping that'll come into maybe either colonization or something along those lines will come into the story. I am also going to be picking up a Royal Bastards trilogy. So I have read Royal Bastards and City of Bastards, books 1 and 2, but I have not read War of the Bastards, which is the final in the trilogy. And Andrew Schwartz, bless his last name, had a new series sold that I believe it was something like Hogwarts but for evil people, and I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. So I was like, oh shit, you still haven't read the last book. You need to get on that. But it's been so long since I've read the second book that I need to read the whole trilogy. So I will be reading Royal Bastards, City of Bastards, and War of the Bastards. So I'm very excited. I also still love the fact that Disney Hyperion published a whole trilogy with bastards in the title. I remember that there's a dystopian. We got a bigger cast of lovable misfits. They go underground. There's just a us versus them mentality, which again, pretty apropos and timely for what's going on in the world right now. So I'm very excited to see how this trilogy wraps up. I'm going to be doing a reread of These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling, as well as a read of the brand new release to the sequel, This Coven Won't Break. I am really excited. Isabel Sterling is going to be in the TBR and Beyond group. I remember really enjoying the first book. I don't remember a ton about it, and I'm kind of blurry on how the book ended in my brain memory right now, so I'm going to do a reread of it just so it's fresh in my brain, especially with her coming to the group. And I'm really excited for the sequel. I remember that there's this weird kind of love triangle when the main character gets a new girlfriend and her ex-girlfriend's kind of psycho, but I remember her getting oh, that's why she's like that sort of arc in the book. And I remember being, I don't know if sympathetic's the right word, but I remember being oh, that's why she's like that. So I'm hoping that'll my brain will de-blur that and I'll remember it, and I'm just really excited to see how that goes. And I think the author has sold another book to publication since the release of the second book. So I'm really excited to see where that goes, and hopefully it's a new author I can follow. I am also going to be picking up These Divided Shores by Sarah Rash. This is the sequel to These Rebel Waves. I just reread These Rebel Waves because I realized you haven't read the sequel, and These Rebel Waves was one of my favorite, actually I think it was my favorite read of 2018, I want to say it was. I loved that book so much. I think it got a bad rap because it was mismarketed as gay pirates, and that's not what this book is. But I am very excited. I'm also really proud of myself that if I finish this, I will be finished this right before Sarah Rash starts a new series. So I'm caught up. I never fall back behind on Sarah Rash, apparently. I'm very excited about that. Her new series, set with Kristen Simmons, set in the world of gods, something set blank gods. It looks really cool. It looks very Roman gladiator sort of thing. So I'm excited to see where this ends. I really liked the wrap up of the Snow Like Ashes series, so hopefully this is just as good. I am going to be picking up the Falling in Love montage. I just honestly forgot that I placed a hold on this, but I got a notification. I went through my holds and was oh, that's coming out really soon, so I should have it. It's in great time. I think it's supposed to be female rep as well, and June is Pride Month. So I was you know what, that's perfect. I'm not going to delay accepting the hold or anything like that. I will happily take it and happily read it. It looks really cute, and I really love the cover. I am also picking up Scorch Dragons by Amy Kaufman. This is the sequel to Ice Wolves. So I've reread Ice Wolves last month. It was part of the TBR and Beyond group read for the month. And so this is the sequel. I haven't read it yet. And I think the sequel, Battleborn, the third final book of the trilogy, I think it comes out this Tuesday. So when this video is up, I think it comes out today or it's the week after. But really, really soon. So I should really read this. So I have a reason to be like, okay, you can go buy the third book. I know I'm going to like it, but I'm trying to stop doing that, buying like 4 books in a series when I haven't read book 1. So I am very excited to see where Scorch Dragons goes. We had so much of perspective of the wolves in the first one. And I want to see how this is, because it's always getting the two sides, because we know that they're feuding sides. You know, if you get the Montagues, you want the Capulets, you know what I mean? So hopefully I love this. I am also picking up Chasing Starlight by Terry Bailey Black. Okay, she is such an underappreciated author. Oh wait, do I have it up here? It would be down here, right? Where is it? Yes. Girl at the Grave is one of like the best historical fiction books I've read in a really, really long time. And that the fact that this came from a debut voice was even more surprising. So Chasing Starlight, as you can tell from the cover, it's a bad cover. Despite the fact that I love her hair. But I was so impressed with the actual content of Girl at the Grave, I could not care less. So I have my hold placed on the library, so I'm going to give it a read probably on release day or right around release day whenever it does come in. And I just know it's supposed to be like, I think it's supposed to be set in California and it's like a murder mystery or something like that. Could be totally wrong. It could be mixing it up with something else at this point. My brain is just mush at this point. But I am so incredibly excited for Chasing Starlight, and I hope she gets more books and some books with some better covers in the future. I am also going to be picking up A Sky Painted Gold. I was debating putting being like, oh, I'll cancel my hold and just place a hold on it in the future for the book. I have it on hold through my library. And then I looked and there's like 8 people in line behind me and I was first. And I was like, okay, never mind. I have to read it because it'll take forever to get to it afterwards. So A Sky Painted Gold. I think this came out as like a self-publication a couple years ago, or a very small publisher, and it got picked up now. I love that cover so much. I really want to see what it looks like in person. I may pick it up, my own physical copy, because if there's any sort of foiling to the gold, or if it's like kind of stamped the way that Cryer's War was, that it feels like kind of like a trophy with how they lifted like the little grooves and all the little details, that would be so freaking cool. So cool. I really hope they didn't give it that beautiful cover and then just paint it and then print it like plain matte, whatever. That would be disappointing. I am also going to be picking up Sky Without Stars for a reread. This is the Les Mis meets Lunar Chronicles, as well as the sequel Between Burning Worlds, because I finally got my pre-order copy. Long story, but like shipping to store to Indigo stores in Canada is just a whole hot mess with them. But my copy showed up last month, so I'm going to be doing a reread. I remember a good chunk of this, but the ending is like completely gone from my mind, so I want to know exactly what I'm getting into with this one. And Sky Without Stars is an interesting one that like, it's just like beautiful. They have these amazing maps in them, but I listen along to the audiobook on this one, as I do with most books, because I like having someone, it's like storytelling. Everyone loves storytelling. But I remember that I was like, I loved the audiobook actually of this. And know what, it bugs me because Emily Zu Weller, who is that narrator that does books that she ruins books for me for some reason. Her gaspy narration or whatever doesn't work for me in most books, but she's not the only narrator in this, so maybe that's why it like works for me, that I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not hearing just breathless, gaspy, dramatic damsel in distress voice all the time, but I really liked the audiobooks for this, so that confused me a whole heck in my brain. But I loved all the different POVs, as well as I've just been kind of wanting to reread the Lunar Chronicles anyways, because it got all those pretty new covers on them, and I was like, maybe I should, but then also like, well, if I have this and I still haven't caught up on it, maybe I should do that first, and maybe it'll fill my quench. If not, maybe then I need to do a reread of the Lunar Chronicles. I'm also going to be picking up Harley in the Sky by, I can't ever pronounce the author's name. I'm so sorry. I know she's not a New York Times bestselling author, but everyone who's read her book seems to just absolutely freaking love her stuff. I know she's gotten a bunch of awards for the stuff that has come out, even though they don't necessarily hit New York Times bestsellers. They seem to be of like value. So I'm really curious just to read something by her, and I've been kind of watching. And then Harley in the Sky got announced and it got a cover. The cover is beautiful. I'd be so curious to see what that looks like in person. I haven't actually seen it on store shelves anywhere, so that'd be really cool. But the library has a copy and I borrowed it. So I know that there's supposed to be a bit of circus elements of it, but I feel like that's something that you can play with. Maybe it's because I have read The Night Circus, but you can have something like The Circus, which is just like the circus, and then make it something beautiful and just have it be that setting, and or even something like Someday We Will Fly, that like their trapeze and like the family is from that circus background and performance, but like it's about World War II being set in China. So it's I feel like I'm very open to that kind of concept of being circus, but like it being something else entirely. You know what I mean? So hopefully I love that, and I want to love this author because she has a couple other books out. I think I'm also going to be picking up Reign of Shadows finally. I've almost been held this book like for 4 years, it feels like. I got this off Book Outlet and just like it's fallen to the wayside so many times I don't even know what to do anymore. So I should finally pick it up, okay? And like either like get the sequel, keep it, or unhaul it, whatever I'm going to do with it. I just really need to get on that. So Reign of Shadows, it was probably like an impulse buy off of Book Outlet for, oh yeah, it's got the mark from Book Outlet. It was definitely that. It honestly sounds just like a traditional YA fantasy with some darker elements, definitely romancy leaning, so I don't know if I'll like it, but I need to just finally try it. I am also going to be picking up Unnatural Magic by C.M. Wagoner. This was recommended, or not recommended, sorry, it was on sale on Indigo for their 10 times the Plum Points event, and this cover just stood out to me, and it just, when I looked it up, it had a lot of, like, if you liked, this book, try these. And I had a lot of other books, and I was like, oh, I read that. I liked that. Yeah, I liked that. Never read that, but I want to read that. So hopefully I like it. It's blurred by Tamora Pierce, too, which I'm kind of, just makes me more interested because she is such a big author. A brilliant and terrifically fun debut brings an enchanting new voice to fantasy. I just know that there's supposed to be, I think, like witches, clans, and trolls or something like that was what I saw somewhere, so I'm really curious about this one. I am also hoping to pick up Cursed by 2 different authors. I do this to hurt myself, it feels like. I am yet to really read a King Arthur retelling that I'm like, yes, this needed to be written. I just haven't been appeased by any of them. But for that exact same reason, I'm like, I have to try all the ones that come out until I find a good one, because it's really bothering me. So I know this has like abysmal reviews on Goodreads. I'm just hella curious because it is coming out on Netflix. They've released the stills for it. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it, and we'll see how that goes. I don't have the highest of hopes based on everything I've heard, but I'm curious enough to give it a go. And the last book that I have on my list for now is The Secret History. I had never heard of this book, and then it like popped up like a year or so ago. I think it was in Book of the Month or something like that. They don't offer that their services in Canada, so I just see a bunch of American people share it, and I'm always like, what is that book? And I remember I like read the summary of the one, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I randomly looked through my library recommendations from patrons list that we have in our system of books to buy, and I was like, oh, that's that book there. And I looked, and I was like, wow, I'm kind of surprised. It's like labeled as a classic all over the place. I'm like, how do we not already own it? And I like looked, and it was like 8 people had recommended it, which is a lot for our like, we just started offering the ability to recommend it. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna give it a go. And I think that so many people had placed, like, I want it, like, so long ago, like, not so long ago, but they had done it and were like, I don't know when this book is coming in, that I was, like, I think spot number 8 or something like that, and, like, within a day of me, like, purchasing the book with other books, I got a notification saying, like, hey, it's available if you want it. So I think everyone was like, just delay my hold for a couple weeks because I don't have the time to read it right now, enough that I got it. So I'm very excited to read that. It's a bigger book, too. I really wish it didn't have such a, like, meh cover, but I hear a lot of, like, wonderful things about the book, so I have really high hopes. So other than that, that is the game plan for now. We'll see how this month goes. I don't know what my mental state is going to be like with all the crap going on in the world. I'm likely going back to working physically at the office as well, because we're supposed to be opening in stage 2, so that might change, how things go for me. At work in the office, you get, more interruptions or whatever. Here, I'm able to just, like, put an audiobook on while I work, and I'm fine doing that, but I can't really do that the same way at the office. So it's a little different. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how the game plan is. And if some books come out that pique my interest, that, show up on my timeline or something like that, I will definitely try to slot them in as I can. So I will link a Goodreads shelf with these books on them in the comment section down below. I will also just link all of my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you back. Stay safe, stay healthy, social distance whenever possible, and yeah, just know you have my support and that this world is not right as it is, and I'm sorry that my ancestors are the ones who helped set it up as is.